Hey, what's up, guys? So, this past weekend, I went undefeated, first place at the New Haven Regional. It was about 290 players. I played Memento Fiendsmith, a deck that I really like, enjoy. I went there mainly to play the regional to get like Worlds points, since I'm trying to qualify for like the NAWCQ points playoff. I did take more of a risk playing Memento because obviously I could have just played like a Malice deck or a Raizo deck or a Mitsurugi deck. But I thought this deck was like a pretty good meta call because it's like pretty strong to like all the Charmies. Like no single Charmy beats you. It doesn't really have like a silver bullet per se. So I thought that like it would be a pretty good combo deck in general. I also had some couple issues with like some of the other decks. Like in Malice, I kept bricking. I just kept opening like unplayable. So I was like, let me just play a deck with a little bit more engine cards so I can open more playable hands. And then I think like the Mitsurugi deck is also pretty strong. But I think that a lot more people would be like prepared for it. Like I saw a lot of people were citing gnomes, Misters of the Gnomes, and I just didn't want to like have a quote unquote like silver bullet or like an auto lose condition to my deck. So I decided to play what I consider a pretty versatile deck in the format, and it's still a pretty strong pick from a meta call perspective to all of the Charmies and even Droll itself. I saw from the regional perspective and the national perspective that a lot of people were main decking Fua and Droll. So Memento is really good into Droll, and it's also really good into Furo. So that's why I figured the Memento deck could be a pretty strong pick. Some shout outs before I showcase you guys the rest of my deck profile. First, shout out to Supreme Pro. There's going to be a drop at the end of the month. I believe May 30th, June 2nd. So be on the lookout for that. Obviously, you already know, use pack 10 for 10% off for all your accessory needs. We have a pretty cool drop that's coming, so definitely be on the lookout for that drop that's going to come at the end of the month. Some really cool behind the scenes. And then additionally, also shout out to my Metafy, the Inner Circle folks, and all the people who support me. You guys can go check out my Metafy link below if you're looking to improve and get better at the game. But anyways, let's just kind of like get started into the deck profile. But yeah, I hope you guys understood a little bit of like the reason why I decided to play this deck. So
Hey, what's up, guys? Pack back here again. And before we continue with the rest of the video, don't forget to go to tixfilm.com and use pack 10 for 10% off. You can enjoy some of the best sleeves and playmats that Supreme Pro has to offer. Use pack 10 and get 10% off. Enjoy the rest of the video. See ya.
first off, for the starters, 3 Anguish, Dark Blade, 2 Goblin. So think this is kind of like standard now, but the reason why I play 3 Witch is because it's like a lot better into Furos. A lot of people choice of Chummy in the main deck is going to be Furos, so Anguish is a lot better into that. I also like Anguish a lot because the effect to search is an on summon effect, which means that it pairs really well with cards like Goblin Grand Breakout and Droplets because you search immediately as a trigger. While cards like Darkblade and Goblin, they're pretty powerful cards, but the issue with them is that there are ignition effects, like as in you need like an open game state for yourself in order to activate them, which means that they don't pair quite as well with cards like the Grand Breakout and like the Droplets. So these cards are good, but I think this card is better. That's why this card's at 3, and it's really good into like Furos, like I said before. And then you have, of course, the Darkblade. Darkblade is a one of. Obviously, you need it for the name, but it's still basically the same type of starter as Anguish. Just plays in a Fu a little bit worse. But Darkblade is really cool because the spell trap to destruction effect comes up a lot. Because this past weekend, I played 9 rounds. 6 of those rounds were Mitsurugi variants, and a lot of the times, one of the things I did was after they like try to attempt to break my board, I would use Bone Party to summon Darkblade and use Darkblade to pop their set prayers at end phase, so they have no interruptions after they crack my board. And then because of all the follow-up this deck generates, it would just be pretty much free. And then obviously 2 Goblin because of the Grand Breakouts in my deck. But this card is also a really high quality starter. Is just as good as Witch in terms of like starter wise. But like I said, it's just worse than Witch in the sense that it's not an on summon trigger search effect. And then you play Triple Horse. This is like one of the best extenders in the deck. It's full combo by itself, except you don't have to commit your normal summon, which is really strong because I also play the Fiendsmith cards. So if you draw like Larry or Lacrima, then having access to the horse is really good. Horse is also really nice because it's a beast monster, which allows you to make Berfomet with it using sequence. So that card is that part of the effect is also pretty good. But yeah, this card is like really good. It's like one of the best extenders in the deck, but it's also the reason why I don't play any hand traps that summon themselves to conflict with the Tatsu, because this card is just so strong by itself. And then for the one-ofs, in terms of like utility, Mace is also technically a worse starter than all of the other ones shown previously. But the thing is, you don't draw a 1-card hand, you don't do 1-card combos, you don't do 2-card combos, you usually do like 5-card, 4-card combos, because the deck has so many engine cards that you usually only draw one non-engine most of the time. Mace is really strong because it can search you any Memento card, so it can search you like a fusion spell, search you Bone Party, search you Tatsu. It's very versatile as what you can search, so I actually think this card is really good. But the thing is, you don't want to play more of it just because you have already so many normal summons in the deck, so that's why it's just a one of. And then one more thing I forgot to talk about. Goblin's like really crazy too, because it has an additional effect where if you control Combine Creation, you can use the effect to discard itself to make your Memento monsters untargetable for the same turn. I actually used that effect to in the Memento mirror match so that my opponent couldn't Mace take my monsters. So it's like really strong. And then obviously they can't imperm as well, so I basically get to attack directly for 3k and 5k, and then they can't really stop it with Valor imperm because of Goblin's effect. So that's like the other secret effect you need to know about that card. Gaddock, it sucks to draw, but if you open it with Horse, it's still doable. But yeah, it's definitely like one of the worst names you can draw in the deck, because it turns off a lot of your 1-card starters. You play Sleepy. I would play more if I could, but the thing is, I wanted to keep the deck closest to 40 as possible, just because I want, like, there's so many power cards in the deck, and the quality of the cards are so different in terms of, like, you know, these type of cards are cards you really want to open. So I would play more. It is very powerful. I've seen a lot of lists play more Sleepy, but the issue is I just wanted to stay as close to 40 as possible, just because like certain cards in the deck are just super high quality that you always want to draw them, and I want to maximize the highest chance of drawing those cards as possible. And then you have Akihiron and Combine Creation. So these cards are all like the one-ofs. You'll notice that I don't play Trihorn Dragon anymore. It's a very good card. I really like that card. I'm a huge advocate for Trihorn Dragon. But the reason why I decided to cut the card is because even though it is good, I think that I just wanted as many live hands as possible with 0 bricks so that I can push through my opponent's board. I think there's an argument to actually consider siding Trihorn Dragon, but I don't think I would main it, just because I want to have the most optimized game 1 deck list to like win game 1s as much as possible, just so that I can have a huge advantage swing. So I can have huge advantage being able to play 2 games sided, because going second you have like access to so many powerful go second cards like Charmies and Storm and Duster, and just powerful go second cards in general, that I want to have a game where I went second, but then if it doesn't work out, I still have a game where I went first. So that's why I just want the most optimized deck list as possible. So that's why I decided to cut Trihorn. But I think there's a world you actually consider siding it, just for like when you're under Charmies or something. Like it's a really good like card where it helps your end board a lot if you get Charmied. But I was able to play without it, and just circumvent the fact that I didn't have it by playing Guardian Chimera in my extra deck. And Guardian Chimera kind of like does what Trihorn would have done, so that's why I thought it was like fine to cut it. So there's this. Yeah, so that's all the Memento cards you play. And then for the power cards that I was kind of like referring to, that you just need to open these cards because they're just super high quality. Yeah, 3 Bone Party, basically emergency teleport for the deck. It helps you dodge a lot of like hand traps, and it helps you OTK as well because of the banish effect to make your monster pierce. 3 Memento Fusion. I know a lot of lists plays 2 because they don't want to brick on the card, but I'd rather brick on the card than have a lower chance of opening this card, to be honest. I think this is like one of the reasons why I was able to beat 6. I played 6 Mitsurugi variants, 4 of them being Raizo. This card is how you beat them, because when they Ame nuke your board, or when they like detonate or pop your stuff, this card becomes basically like, I don't know, like a shut-off fusion. Maybe that's not the best way to explain it, but it just becomes like basically a win con in and of itself. Where if you activate this, like you just push so much, and usually like if you resolve this card, like most of the games you're probably gonna be winning. Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to play 3, just like I said, max out on it. I play one of the field spell, just engine requirement. That's fine. And then I play 2 Grand Breakout. Yeah, I know a lot of people play 3 of this. I decided to play 2. I think this card is not really that good. Valor isn't really in the format anymore. And the only hand trap that like this card would be nice against, like maybe like impermanence or something. So I didn't really find like this card to be that good. I figured like 2 of it is like fine. So I didn't really want to max out on too many of these cards, to be honest. Oh, one thing to mention. The field spell is like has another cool effect where if a mental master battles, your opponent cannot activate any spell and trap cards at the end of the damage step. I actually use that effect where I went to battle with Combined Creation. I attacked directly for 5,000, and then on attack declaration, I activate the effect of Sleepy to summon itself from the hand. My opponent tries to impulse it, but the thing is, he can't impulse because of the fact that this card says that when a mental monster declares basically when it declares an attack, your opponent can activate spells and trap until the end of the damage step. So I was able to play around impulse, summon the Sleepy, resolve Sleepy to make Creation King, and then attack directly for 5k and 3k, which my opponent did not expect that. So I thought that was like pretty cool. Is there anything else? Oh, also the deck. The reason why the deck is really strong is because it has a lot of like in-engine outs to Detonator. So for instance, like one of my games, I opened Horse Witch going second, and basically these 2 cards by itself just beats Detonator. So like I think I Lightning Storm my opponent's back row, so he has a Detonator for 3. I went normal summon Witch. I use Witch to grab Sleepy. I go attempt a special Horse. He chains Detonator, pops the Witch. Then I go Horse effect. He goes chain Detonator, pop Horse. I go change Sleepy. The chain resolves backwards. Sleepy gets summoned. The Detonator pops the Horse, and then the Horse on a new chain resolves to pop the Sleepy. And then you would send a Gaddock and a Goblin on a new chain. You can go Chainlink 1 Sleepy, Chainlink 2 Gaddock. Gaddock would then summon itself back, and then the Sleepy would then send a Memento Fusion to the graveyard, and then the Gaddock effect would target the fusion, add it back to your hand. Your opponent has 1 material left on Detonator, and you basically get access to Memento Fusion, which should just be game by itself, so you can figure out the rest of the sequence there. But yeah, this deck has obviously like some insane lines there that you can do to like basically beat a Detonator with just engine. So I thought that's like pretty sick. And then the Fiendsmith stuff, I only played 2 Engraver, and I played Lacrima, Track, Lurie. I didn't want to max out on too many of these, but they were really nice because a lot, like, so if people play Pirellia in the main, like if Fiendsmith cards beats it, they just gave the deck extra pushes and helps you like break your opponent's board. I remember I played against I think I said 2 pure Mitsurugi players, and I broke their board with 5 engine cards just because I had Fiendsmith cards in my deck. Because Engraver basically threatens it like forces like a Detonator, or like it trades with like one of your opponents like Ames or something, like it, because then if you summon Engraver and you try to like pop their Ame, their counter trap is then turned off, so they have to like do something in response. If not, they then have to burn a Praise, bring back Ame to make the trap live. But if they do that, then it's a little bit awkward because they don't get a good opportunity to bring back Ame, so it makes it really awkward for them. But yeah, this card was like really good for me. Basically my logic was that instead of like more copies of Goblin Grand Breakout, I just play like the Fiendsmith cards to help me like keep pushing more, and it's a unique push basically, and I like that because you want as many unique pushes as possible in the deck. But Larry was also really cool because I drew this card a lot, but when, like I said, I played 6 Mitsurugi players, I went second. My opponent, I would activate an effect, they would activate Ame to make me discard a card, I would discard like Larry to make my stuff resolve, and then Larry on a new chain triggers to come back. So it's actually fine to open Larry going second into like a Ryziel Mitsurugi player, just because Larry, when he gets discarded off the Ame, would just summon itself back. So I thought that was kind of neat. And then for the non-engine, I played basically the best hand traps in the game. 3 Droll and Lockbird, 3 Pirellia, and then I played 3 Furos. Basically, I just wanted to play the highest impact hand traps, like Imperms, Nibs, Ash Blossom. All those hand traps are like good, but they just don't do anything to any of the top decks at the moment. So I decided to play as all like the Floodgate hand traps so that my opponent can end on a half board. and this deck just slaughters any half board that's being made in the current format. So that's why I think it's like really strong. Like even if my opponent, like, you know, if you play against Malice and you like full roast them and they end on like red ransom pass, because you play so many cards to dodge Malice in the mirror, right? Because usually their half board is like red ransom with Malice in the mirror. You play so many dodge cards against Malice in the mirror that's like really chill. And so like even if they end on Malice in the mirror, like you're like, okay, who cares? And then yeah, Joel makes every board like basically tells your opponent whatever 5 cards they have in their hand, beat me with just that. But the thing is, your 5 cards in your deck are usually better than most decks' 5 cards, because this deck's engine just pushes through a lot. And then obviously going first, this is a really good backup to your board as well. Yeah, so like 9 hand traps, only the best ones. And then I played 1 talents, 1 call by. These cards should probably be banned. But yeah, just 1 and 1. Talents to draw, because in this deck, when you activate talents to draw 2, you play so many powerful engine cards that talents is like ridiculous. So that's why it's there. Don't really need to explain that. And then obviously call by for like Ash, but it's really good in the format because there's a lot more Mitsurugi players than Malice. Going second, you can like banish call by their Ame, and then you just basically just win the game if that happens, because you beat them in the grind. And then I played 2 forbidden droplets. It could have been 3, but like I said, the whole deck right now is 41 cards. I wanted to stay close to 40 as possible. I figured that with 2 breakout, 2 droplets, I think it was fine. Originally, it was only 1 breakout and then 3 droplets, but I think it was like fine to play 2 and 2, because this card is better going first. This card is better going second. So I think 2 and 2 was fine. But yeah, like I said, I wanted to keep the deck close to 40 as possible. Just because like I think the quality of certain cards are just too high to not play close to 40, because I used to play this deck at 45, and yeah, it's not bad, but like I said, certain cards are just too broken not to play.
Hey, what's up guys, it's Pat here. Before we continue with the rest of the video, don't forget to consider subscribing to the Classroom. This is where I'll be posting exclusive content, exclusive deck profiles, combos, tips, and of course also offering coaching services within Medify. So if you guys are interested in looking to elevate your game, look no further than the Classroom below. Click on the description box below for further information, and I hope to see you in there. Enjoy.
For the extra deck, I played obviously the Requiem for the Fiendsmith stuff, 1 Moon to bridge Sequence, Agam Day. You have to play Agam Day so that your full end board is going to be Caesar with Agam Day in the graveyard, with Desert in the graveyard, Combined Creation, and then a SP. That's like the full best board in the deck. And then doubled spell set, so you have Guardian Chimera as well. But yeah, so but that's Agam Day lets you do that, because usually you would Agam Day back like a Fiendsmith name like Desiree or something, and then you would turn it into a Necro Equip and then overlay with it to make to make the to make a Caesar. But yeah, so you have, these are like the Fiendsmith links, and then you have for utility, Cross Sheet, Proxy F, and then SP. Because obviously Impulse is in the format, you need to play this card in order to beat Impulse. There's a lot of lines with it, but essentially this card lets you get to beat Impulse by letting you access like Twin Horn Dragon, or even like it usually lets you access Twin Horn, because you won't have like 3 mementos, but you can usually get to like 2 mementos and then like 2 extra bodies. If you make this card into Trihorn, it's full combo. And then you have Cross Sheep. Cross Sheep is really strong as well. The reason is because if you can like use Sleepy to make the Creation King, the fusion, you can then use like Memento Fusion to summon a Baphomet in the Cross Sheep zone, and then you can go Chainlink 1 Sheep, Chainlink 2 Baphomet. Baphomet dumps Lacrima, and then Sheep resolves to bring back the Lacrima. Then the Lacrima triggers Ascend Engraver, so you like never lose a nib. Yeah, so there's some like really cool synergy there. But then obviously Cross Sheep lets you, like, for example, if you make it, you can summon back whatever, like for example a Darkblade in the graveyard, because a lot of people imperm Darkblade on summon. So what you can do is you can punish that really nicely, because you make Cross Sheep, you summon Engraver to the Cross Sheep zone, and then you use Requiem to target the Engraver to make it equipped, and then you sack the Engraver plus the Requiem into a Necro Equip. Then because you summon a Necro Equip to the Cross Sheep zone, you can use Cross Sheep to bring back Darkblade, and then use Darkblade again. So for people who imperm Dark Blade on summon, they get super punished by that line. So that's why Sheep is also good in that spot. It's also a really cool card because it's a Fiend. So usually like you can go Cross Sheep into Sequence, and then use Sequence to shuffle back the Cross Sheep because it's a beast, and then shuffle back a Fiend to make Baphomet. So there's some cool applications where you turn monsters just in a Fiend just for Sequence as well. The reason why SP is really good is because you play Baphomet. So if you're under Joel and Lockbird, you're not going to be able to banish this card to search. So usually you make this, you make SP and use SP to banish your own Creation King so that Baphomet can like banish to bring this card back during your opponent's turn. So that's why SP is like really good because it's also part of your combo. There's another line where you SP banish your own Sleepy in the graveyard so that you can Baphomet, bring back Sleepy, and then use Sleepy effect to fusion into a combined creation on your opponent or a creation king on your opponent's turn as well. So yes, SP is really good. It's mainly comes up when you get drolled, so because then you can't banish the what do you call it, the creation king. Yeah, so for some of the fusions, you play Necro Equip, you play the Twin Horn, you play Creation Kings, 2 of them. You need 2 because going second, usually you want to send another copy to force through back row while keeping this card on the board. And then you play Desiree for the Fiendsmith, you play Baphomet for the combo, and then you play Guardian Chimera. This is the latest edition. Like I said, I added this card in because I play 3 Mental Fusion now, and then I just really like this card as an additional interruption on my opponent's turn. It was really good for me. I really liked it. I summoned it 3 times. The thing is, too, like under Joel and Lockbird, you can get to like 2 back row sets, but Sleepy usually makes Creation King. So if you don't play Guardian Chimera, you have no interruption with Memento Fusion. So that's why I wanted to have this card as an option. And then, yeah, I played Caesar, which I think is one of the strongest extra deck cards in the game at the moment. Against Mitsurugi, if you make this card, that you just win. They have to burn their Kaiju to like tribute it if they're playing Pier, but if they're playing Raizo the variant, then they usually can't beat this unless they have X. But yeah, this card's like really good right now. Yeah, and then for the extra deck, for the side deck, I played 2 Grand Entrance and a Doug Charger because you have to side out 6 Charmers going first. So I side out 6 Charmers going first for like 3 Ash, and then 2 Grand Entrance and a Doug. The thing is, this engine is also really good because going second into the Raizo variants, you just basically break the entire Raizo board with just this card because you can go Grand Entrance, and then banish a material, and then rip a material off the Detonator. If you rip Twins of the Eclipse, they just can't do anything about it. So yeah, this card's like really strong. And then you play 1 Doug Charger because then the Grand Breakout can summon Doug Charger, then use Doug Charger to add Grand Entrance. Then you can play Grand Entrance to detach material and then search Goblin and then summon Goblin. And then this card can banish it to add Goblin back to hand or something. So yeah, it's just really good. It's really good follow-up as well. Really strong card. Yeah, I side 3 Ash Blossom for when I go first because instead of having floodgates or anything like that, I'd rather just have a card that can help me play. But Ash is also really good into like as like a go first card. Sometimes I side going second to Pure Mitsurugi though, because I think if you hit Saji, it's like pretty strong against Tabakiri. And then I played 3 Lancia just for Malice, right? Nothing to say. 3 Meows, Malice, it's fine. And then this is what I side against every deck. 2 Storm Duster. Right now, if you like Charmy all the players, they end on like a half board with a bunch of sets, and so these cards just cleans up all their back row, and then you can just beat their front line with just your engine. Sometimes the non-engine is like really difficult to beat, so that's why I really like this card to help you with that. But yeah, that's pretty much the deck list. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. Let me know if there's anything else you want to see. But yeah, Memento's really sick. I've been having a lot of fun with it. So I'm glad I'm able to finally win the regional. I came close at Toronto. I think I went 8-0 and lost the last round, so I ended up not winning Toronto regional. But I was glad I was able to win the regional with Memento because it's one of my favorite decks. And yeah, thanks again, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.